Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPad 9th generation and see how this particular iPad holds up in the later part of 2025. Now, there's a couple of big things to keep in mind here for the most part. Number one, with the iPad 9th generation, this is still a very good type of iPad, right? I do think in a lot of ways, you're going to be able to go through and pick up an iPad that is still going to be giving you a good experience in a couple of ways. Number one, this iPad, at least when it comes down to its body, it's giving you a 10.2-inch Retina IPS LCD panel. And I do think that right there, that's a good type of panel. Nothing crazy, nothing like exceptionally insane, but it's going to be a good panel. You're getting a home button on the front, lightning port at the bottom, camera setup, single camera on the back. There isn't really anything, exceptionally insane with this type of device anymore. But at a time, it was a really nice type of, iPad. And I would still say it feels expensive, but it is going to be a little bit of an older type of styling when it comes down to it as of this point. Now, one of the other big things to keep in mind here within this type of iPad as well is the fact that it is still supported with software. So you're still able to go through and get some software updates on this thing, like it is still on iPadOS 26. And that right there is actually a fairly nice thing when it comes down to it. So being able to go through and get iPadOS 26 inside of this type of device, I think is actually very nice. Like you're still going to be able to get a ton of, experience and capability inside of this thing. So I feel like from that side, that is kind of an advantage for this type of iPad when it comes down to it as well. Now, on top of that, the stability and battery life and capability on iPadOS 26 on the iPad 9th generation, it is going to be slight, it's going to be a little laggy for sure. And it's going to feel like a little bit of an older type of system, right? I think that's kind of the best way to describe it. But it isn't really like the biggest deal in the world. And you're still going to be able to get a pretty good experience inside of this thing for how old this iPad is. It's giving you the same chipset as something like an iPhone 11, but I would say it feels a little bit it still feels like a fairly fast iPad. Even though it's only 3 gigabytes of RAM and stuff, I would still say in a lot of ways, this type of iPad does hold up decently well. And I would say if you're in the market and you're going to go and buy an iPad, I think this is a decent option, right? I would say get an iPad 10 or iPad 11 or an iPad Air 4. Those types of iPads I would probably recommend more so than this thing. But if you're in a pinch and you need to go through and buy an iPad, I do think this is like a fairly solid option when it kind of comes down to it. So if you're wanting a super old iPad, then I would say go for it. But if you can, get an iPad Air 4 or an iPad Mini 6 or something like that. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.